It's well, the official Finance and Human Resource Committee to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ermeling,
Here.
Barr, Hackbarth, Loeb Sarau,
Here.
Manel,
Here.
Wilson,
Here.
Soper.
Here.
Public comments.
Yes. Lisa Beck, 1808 Cortez Lane. Just super duper quick, but I think Brent, you mentioned at a previous meeting about something about like budget priorities. I'm just wondering, is that something that we do? I've only been going to the meetings since like September, but like my home budget, I need a new furnace, so I'm gonna plan ahead for it. Or my goal this year is to reduce debt. I don't know, do we do anything like that? Like we wanna build infrastructure for 2027. Or like I know we did a lot of roads this year, was that our goal? So I'm wondering, when we set the budgets, which it's already done for 2026, but is that something that we do normally every year or not? So I'm wondering if maybe we could direct that at some point or address that, or let me know, maybe it's in somewhere that I need to look at.
We usually do a 5-year capital plan. So
Okay.
that we presented previously, maybe a couple months ago, looking at the projects, agreeing on those projects. And then before we borrow, we finalize our capital projects plan.
Okay,
Operations, we usually don't start that till July. A lot of our revenues, we don't know until maybe September, October,
okay.
not September, late August, September.
That was one of the things I was trying to page through everything that's in the meeting notes. I'm like, I wonder if we really have a targeted goal every year and what our like priorities are. So that was my first question. I'm trying to get better at understanding the budget. So like TIF and all of that stuff. I listened to something on the radio a couple weeks back. So we close out a TIF and then that money could go to something else. Do we have like where that money would go towards yet, or does that just go into like the slush fund, like the capital improvement fund or?
Jess,
general
it's still
fund?
public comment, so I think it's, yeah.
So that, if that you don't want to answer, that's fine, but I'm just hoping maybe you can address that during the meeting. And the last one, this is just super minor, but I know you guys did a employee survey, I think. And it said it was $4,500, which is totally fine. But I swear I said something else, there was an additional 48, so I don't know if I'm just misreading the numbers, or was it just a flat $4,500 for it? I know that peanuts with everything else, but I'm just trying to become more informed, so I guess I'm just looking to see kind of more information on the priorities for the budget and the TIF and where that would go, so. You guys are the finance people, you're the experts, so, thank you guys.
Thank you. Okay. Minutes from previous meeting, we have approved the minutes of October 20th and then the November 17th. What's your pleasure?
I'll move to approve both.
Both Bernice. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Steve? On the question? Was the 20th one corrected correctly?
I'll move so, yes.
Someone did listen to it. That word was used during that conversation. We revised the minutes to make it more general, but I just wanted to let everyone know there was conversation of referendum in that when you're talking about it. So some just picked it up. We'll just verify it. We can, I was gonna say, in the future, we'll maybe make it more general for the comments.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Acknowledge work products transmittals, November budget status report. Comments on that, Jess?
We have it through November 30th. There's still got quite a bit coming in for the last month. Is there any questions on anything?
Any questions or comments? Okay, do you want to do these all together or do them separately, acknowledging?
We can do them all together.
Okay. So item 6, TIF 1 and TIF 2, detail reports for November. Any questions on that? Comments? Okay, moving along, legal details for November. Any questions, comments on that? Okay, then I would need a motion to acknowledge work product transmittals 5, 6, and 7.
Motion.
Motion by Brent.
I'll second that.
Second by Steve. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Old business, discussion and possible action on the National Employee Survey Report of the results administered through local. So who would like to take that, or does somebody have a comment or questions or?
I did include in the package is the background. The survey was $4,500 and the HR committee felt strongly about it being a national employee survey, so it would have benchmarks nationally. So it wouldn't just be our employees and not necessarily represent a benchmark for any other municipality. So that was only one time, one cost, $4,500 for the survey. It is a 2-year agreement with POCL, so we could do other internal surveys. They just won't be evaluated against a national standard. So we do have a 2-year agreement, which is all included in that $4,500. So the survey results are attached. The majority of the responses did receive a higher versus benchmark standard. Those that did not receive higher were similar, and we received no lower benchmark standards. I did note in the RFC that I thought page 4 did a good job of just laying out key findings through the survey. And the survey results have been shared with all of the directors and with the staff.
Any questions or comments or? Okay, Linda.
I just have a comment. Thank you for pointing out that page. That was very helpful. And the area for improvement with the work-life balance and compensation is very common to see comp low. All organizations, I mean, you can see the lower benchmark as well. But I found it interesting that there are some opportunities, I think, for us to really look at that merit-based pay that we've been looking at for years. I've been on this committee for a very, very long time, and that's come up several times of doing a merit base versus just a flat across the board to reward that high performer. So I think it's something that should continue to be evaluated to see if you can do some merit-based pay increases.
Okay. Anyone else?
I agree with that, and I also just wanted to say, seeing the work-life balance number pretty low, I don't think that's completely uncommon in the public sector because it is a demanding profession. But anything we can do as a board and as a committee to keep improving that and making sure there is good balance is important so that people don't get burned out. So.
And it's to tie with that the employees really value the flexibility factor. So that goes along with that work-life balance. As long as you're, keeping those in check, I think that will be very rewarding for the staff to continue to allow that flexibility.
Anyone else? Okay, can I have either a motion to acknowledge or a motion to acknowledge and something else?
Motion to acknowledge the results.
I'll second that.
Linda, second by Ruth. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. New business, discussion and or possible action on deputy clerk administrative assistant position options. Okay.
You want to go? One take?
I can go and you can add on. Yep. So my department, the clerk's department, has recently lost an individual. He went back to his former position. So we have a vacancy again. So we took this time to reevaluate that position. It's an entry-level position, which basically involves, the majority is the phone answering, the front door. We've been having that position do receipting as well, for accounts receivable. So when we were reevaluating the position, we were kind of throwing around that we thought that this would be an opportunity to possibly put it out there to candidates for part-time and possibly get 2 part-time individuals in there, which would help save the village expenses with regards to the payroll expenses, but also maybe open it up to a larger candidate pool, maybe some early retirees that want to just have a part-time job, or other options, young mothers that maybe want to get out during the day, that are home with their kids, that are in school. Just the possibility of putting it out there for a full-time position, always looking for a full-time person, but also putting it out there as a part-time position, seeing what we get as far as resumes.
Questions or?
Oh, I like that idea, because it would be 2 part-time, and it would be available during the business hours, so it would be split one or the other. I think that's great to see what candidate pool is out there. You might increase it, you might not, but I think it'd be great to see what you get.
Are you thinking of posting just the part-time first, or are you thinking of posting both at
We
the same
would
time?
post both of them and look what comes in. One of the other duties that I forgot to mention was the kind of the social media, the newsletter. So it would open that up as well. If we found a candidate who really liked that portion of it, maybe they could come in and do the majority. They would still have to answer the phones and assist in that way, but they could also focus on that. So yeah, we were going to put it out there for full and part-time. It has been done. I've seen it done by other municipalities, and see what kind of resumes we received.
Any other questions?
Just out of curiosity, do you plan on paying, we're gonna be saving money by not having to pay benefits and insurance and that type of thing. I assume they're gonna be less than 32 hours or whatever, but have you given thought to per hour? Are you gonna be offering more for a part-time position or to attract more people? Or, I mean, we're gonna have a savings, I know that, but I know in banking, to get that window over lunchtime is always difficult. We always have to pay the tellers more. And we want to have somebody who doesn't want to have a full-time job, but they come in, we paid them and compensated them more for that.
We were going to stay within the class that it was in, the pay class, is that how? it
The
was?
scale,
The
yeah.
scale, yes.
So we wouldn't go, even if we did the 2 part-time, we wouldn't exceed what's been budgeted for the position. I think it also might be a possibility where maybe we have someone that wouldn't have as much experience and maybe someone that has more. So not necessarily that they would even be necessarily equal, depending on what would be the skill level that they would come in with. But I think we just really want the flexibility to see what options are.
Not going off the top of your head, that's fine, but what is the range for pay grade F? I see that on here, but that top of my head means nothing. I was just kind of curious if you know the range.
I think it's like 21 to 24. It's approximately in that
Yeah, that's
span.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Comments? Okay, I will need a motion to either recommend or however you would.
I need to recommend the board the flexibility of a part-time deputy clerk admin support specialist position.
Motion by Linda, do I have a second?
Okay, good. Pick one of us, we both seconded.
I heard Brett, so, but he's closer, so. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried, right. Item 10, boy, we're moving right along here. Okay. Discussion and or possible action on 2025 budget amendments.
In your packet in our CAF that were looking for a couple different things. The first one is to transfer any surplus in excess of $50,000 to capital projects. Again, we're taking a look at our fund balance, realizing we don't necessarily need to grow that. So we're looking to transfer any excess over to the capital projects fund, which is ideal because usually with your fund balance, you never really want to spend that on ongoing expenditures because it's kind of a one-time thing. So when we transfer it to capital, we can spend it on capital purchases. The second is we're looking at amending some budget lines that we know went over. So when we guesstimate our budget back in November of 24, we did the best we could, but when things start coming in and we realize we have some expenditures that are going to be low, we look to see where else can we purchase the items that we needed for operations. Some of those lines go over. So in the packet, I have some account lines that we're looking at amending along with some of the notes for those accounts. Is there any questions on any of those accounts and the notes that I have in the packet?
The surplus of 50,000 or more, is that something we kind of typically do every year? Is that just something that's kind of routine?
Is it routine? No, so in excess of 50,000. So the 50,000, I don't know if you remember, we budget that as applied budget surplus. So we were going and looking at 2025 and realized that we we're going to have a budget surplus. So we budgeted in 2026 to use $50,000 of that surplus for 2026. So that's why we can budget, we can move anything over the $50,000. That's why, because we are essentially using that $50,000 next year. If you looked at the budget statuses back up above, a lot of our surplus is coming on interest income. So the village has had a lot of money in the last, I'd say 2-3 years. A lot of it is TIF money. And you say, why isn't it going to TIF? So when we do the allocation for interest income, we have an allocation that there's a set amount that goes to the general fund. It basically covers a lot of our administration and because we don't always charge these other funds for administration of the work that we do within those funds. And so we keep a lot of the interest income. With interest rates going down and knowing that we are spending down our TIF to close it, we're not going to have that money in the banking account anymore. TIF had $10 million in the bank at the end of 2024. We're not going to have that anymore. We're looking at closing it in the next couple of years. So the interest income we're gonna have reduced. We're not gonna be getting $300,000 in 2026 or 2027. So to actually have adjusted our budget higher for that line, that would have been kind of silly knowing going forward that money was not going to be there. So that's why you say, why do you have such a surplus? Because I never bumped up the interest income where the actual was. And I did it on purpose, knowing that we need to live, like I always say, within our means, knowing that interest income was inflated and we're just not going to get that money in the future. So that's partially why we are having this surplus for like the 3rd year in a row. It will be going away. But this year, I'm asking the committee to approve the amendments that I have proposed, along with a budget of transferring over $100,000 out to capital. Any questions on what I just rambled about?
Well, anybody have any questions? I followed, but
I kind of had the notes on that Excel spreadsheet of why I want to amend those certain lines. And normally we don't actually budget the revenue and expenditures going up, but this year I'm kind of doing both, looking in anticipation of hoping to retain our expenditure restraint. And at the board level, we're talking about going for a referendum, and this referendum, I don't know, between 300 and 600, right? We're looking at collecting more funds to help hire 6 more people at our fire district. So with this referendum, we know our expenditures are going to be going up. And with the expenditure restraint program, it's based off a CPI increase from one budget year to the next budget year. The DOR does take into account these budget amendments. So my hope is between 2025 and 2026, if we can increase those budget levels up to where the CPI increase will not, the CPI increase will be high enough that when we add the additional referendum revenue, it will not kick us out of the expenditure restraint program. The expenditure restraint program gives us $120,000 of money during the year. And if we were to get kicked out of that program, even if we raise, say, $500,000 for safer district, we're still going to be in the hole for $120,000 that we somehow have to get that money from elsewhere. So with this budget amendments, both in 25 and 26, I'm hoping to increase that budgeted revenue and expenditure, keeping our budget balanced, and in hopes that with 2027, we'll be able to stay in the expenditure restraint program. So.
The only other piece about expenditure restraint is our mill rate needs to stay over $5.
Right now, with the current projected borrowing, I believe we'll be able to.
Yes, yeah, but that's the first qualifying factor is mill rate over $5.
The Village of Weston borrows usually every other year. And this year we're looking at borrowing, but there's also talks of a proposed public safety police building where the village would be borrowing for also. We're planning on borrowing that in our off year. And then with our CIP program, we would be borrowing for 3 years in a row. Obviously, the board needs to look at that. Borrowing at the rate that we're borrowing without paying it down is something that needs to be looked at and the board needs to be comfortable with. That's for another discussion.
Thank you. Any other?
I just want to make sure that it's, I guess, clear. So people are going to hear us talking about this, and they're also going to hear us talking about a possible referendum. The reason why we wouldn't want to take this money and just apply it toward the firefighters that we're looking at is this is one-time money. So once we use it, it disappears. It's not a long-term solution for funding for the firefighters.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
I'm sure that people will see that and be like, well, why don't you use that money? So.
Those are very tough discussions to have, because that's why I kind of told you about this interest income. That's why that line is so far off. But because our cash is going to be depleting with our closure of the TIF and interest rates dropping, we're not going to have that surplus that we've had for the last 2 years. It's not going to be there. I can guarantee it's going to be going away. So budgets will be a little bit tighter with the lack of interest income, free money.
And then one other thing, I don't know if it totally ties in or not, but I saw a press release from the governor's office the other day about something about like an increase in shared revenue or increase in percentage of money coming from the state. Have you heard anything about that or how that might impact us?
Have you? Was it in the past? Was he talking about the past?
It was, I don't know.
There was something that came through the league today,
Okay.
and that was for an increase in funding to state facilities within municipalities, so like state buildings that are tax exempt. So the DOA would prorate state payments, that it increased them, it says from 37.6% to 44% of costs incurred in 2026. So that was the first increase for the municipal service payment program in over 2 decades.
So that's specific for state buildings.
It's specific for, state buildings located around the state, including agency and University of Wisconsin system facilities.
Oh,
That's if that was exactly what you.
that's exactly what I was talking about. So
Okay.
that helped answer my question.
Yeah, I saw that this morning. I
Has
was like,
nothing to do
"Ooh."
with this. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
don't have anything.
Yeah.
No, not in the shared revenue is now tied to sales tax, but
Yeah.
so we should see incremental increases where we hadn't before, but
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
I just want to commend Jessica that we're looking forward. I appreciate the fact that we're planning versus just waiting for the hole to be there and being like, well, crap, what do we do now? So I appreciate the fact that we're looking that far ahead to try to minimize the impact of that loss.
Yes. Any remarks from staff?
We need a motion on this?
We need to
I was just gonna say, do you wanna, okay. All right, I need a motion for, the budget amendments to either approve or disapprove. Right, to approve. Second by Linda. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried, yes. Okay, now remarks from staff.
Oh, sure, we can share. This is my last committee meeting, so it's been a fun journey. I've been on the committee. I started with when it was just the HR committee, and when it combined into finance, I found my non-financial brain spending a lot of time trying to understand the finance, and I just didn't have the capacity with my full-time job. But I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to learn about the finance part. So today is my last meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
You have been the one we go to is when it comes to
I
the
know, from
HR,
HR,
because I may be in finance, but HR is, I mean, other than just being kind of on the surface of it, I'm not, you know.
Yeah, well, thank you. Hopefully you can find a great replacement. I know you have an attorney on as well, so, which is good.
so I just wanted to, because if you would have seen an advertisement, it's currently being advertised. The committee may have wondered why it's being advertised. So thank you for,
You're welcome.
yes, yeah. Other than that, my only other remarks, which if, I know I sound like a broken record, but I think it's helpful because of different people watch different meetings and listen into different parts. Just remember garbage and recycling transition is starting. The new cans are being delivered starting today at the public safety building. So if you see the public safety parking lot turn into a very large collection of Harder's disposal cans, that they are supposed to be there, and they'll start being disseminated to houses later this week.
I actually met up with the neighbor that I kept telling, I gotta remember, go over to her house and tell her, and she actually had seen it and she would laugh and she's, yeah, I don't put them out real often, but I thank you for reminding me to do that, so. All right, any questions for Jamie or, okay? Anyone else? Anything? All right. Remarks from members. Linda?
Boy, I'm disappointed you're leaving. But wish you the best.
Oh,
I mean,
thank you.
it was good. I mean, I've been on different committees for a long time and it was really nice to have the HR, the depth of the HR experience.
Jamie knows how to reach me.
Yeah, okay.
I was just like, I think we can still ask questions.
Absolutely, absolutely, you can.
Bring you in as a consultant.
Absolutely, I'm happy to help with whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for your efforts. It was great.
Welcome.
Yeah, myself again, I'm sorry to see you leave. I counted on you to guide us in the HR department and, you know, as far as finance, the rest of us could handle. You could just do the HR. If you change your mind.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Okay. Future items. Next meeting is January 19th at 5 PM or immediately following tours.
Yeah, we'll let you know if we're gonna have that meeting. There was a question if we'll have enough or have agenda items put together. January's and the end of December and January is super busy in our department, so we'll see what we can put together.
We likely will have tourism, but we may
Yes.
not have finance HR.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then the following one is February 16th at 4:30. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn. Steve?
Okay.
Second by Linda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. We will adjourn at 5 p.m. exact.